This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, here we are. My second interview today, because I just got done at midnight, was my first one. Here we are, afternoon. I get to have a little bit of a rest. But folks, here we are, October 21st, 2021. On the eve of the release of 13 Fanboy. And folks, as anybody who has been following me knows, I am a co-producer on 13 Fanboy. My name will be at the beginning of the movie, the end of the movie, and my picture will be in the movie scene with Tracy Savage, covered in blood from what I am being told by Riley C. Morris. Well, folks, I have another person involved with the film, an executive producer. Yes, folks, I give you the awesome, the talented John Lepper. How do you do, John?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Did I pronounce your last name right?
A Lepper, but I try
Lepper.
not to be too much of a stickler.
Well, you know what? I've never seen that last name before. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Not common.
Yeah. So
basically, anyone with that last name is in some way related to me. So.
Well, you know what? I had Tony De Benedetto on
actually,
at midnight.
Yes, I know Tony. He was actually the investor that I brought on.
Yeah, I had him on just little over 12 hours ago. I had him on, and I had Orlando Rodriguez on just before him, and I had a few of you folks on here.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm an essential worker. I work as a cleaner, so I kind of know what it's like to be overlooked, I agree with society that doctors and nurses should be paid more. I agree. But I'm also going to stretch that further and say cleaners should be paid more as well. Because we were kind of those unsung heroes during the pandemic. And and a lot of people out there don't seem to get that because we don't get noticed. And that's part of the point on my recent post on Debbie Sue's sheer horror page, is people that don't necessarily get noticed. And I know what that feels like, and I like to interview the bigger names as well, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I also know where I come from, and that I'm blessed with anybody that comes on Python's Paradise to do an interview with me. And so my response to that is let's give the people with that don't always have a voice a chance to talk. And you are, I think you're the fourth person I heard from responding to that message on there, and I've been enjoying hearing the stories. And my advice to podcasters is don't overlook who you think might not be valuable, because you never know the stories you're going to hear that are so cool,
Absolutely.
Yep. And it's been wonderful, and yeah. But I mean, I don't want to sound long-winded, but I did a 25-minute video I put on YouTube of my reaction to the trailer.
Nice.
For 13 Fanboy, and I tagged about 25 people in it. And at the time, I didn't know you or Tony or Orlando or anybody like that. And but I tagged a lot of the names, and I tagged people I knew. One of the things I did in that video was talk about my background of getting involved with 13 Fanboy, but I also spoke of, I wanted to give credit to people that don't necessarily get noticed. Like Carrie Yates, for example. Had it not been for her in the UK, I wouldn't know how to use Zoom right now. People like Rob Mahoney and Jimmy Presley, who do a lot of footwork, you know. People like Christopher Norris, who doubled for Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I haven't looked at him the same way since discovering that. Or people like Troy Elke, who I think is like one of the most talented people involved with the film. You know, I mean, I don't know where he comes up with this stuff, but I wanted to give mention of people like that because I've noticed them, you know.
Absolutely.
And so there's a lot of podcasts out there who won't interview people unless they're stars.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of talent get bypassed because of that. So I consider myself lucky if anybody comes on my show. So I try to give an opportunity for people to have their voices heard. And with that said, here we are with you on here, and gotta say, you're supposed to come on yesterday. I've been waiting here for an entire day. And I'm just kidding. You were under the weather yesterday,
Yeah,
and I appreciate you contacting me.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but I do got to show this off first thing though. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I got my signed poster on the wall. It's my office. I keep all my memorabilia in here.
Oh, come on, that's your bedroom. Come on. You threw that stuff up there just like and I got this as well, you know.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I got this while Tom Matthews was like still part of the movie, because when I went to Horrorama 2019 to promote this film, outside Kane Hodder, Tom Matthews got the most attention on
That's
this
right.
bag, and I'm
I
kind of like,
completely forgot that he was originally involved. I completely forgot that until you just
oh.
mentioned it.
And I said to Debbie Sue, I said, is there a way to bring him back? Because I'm going to tell you, he got spotted more than Dee Wallace and Corey Feldman on this shirt. And like the previous two people I had on here, I am going to show this off because it is Friday the 13th related, but yeah.
Nice.
And I got a signature on it.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. My favorite Jason out of the bunch. I've had him as a guest twice.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Ted White.
Yeah, I've met him, I've met Ari, I've met Kane, obviously. I've not actually met CJ.
Well, I'm going to be meeting CJ very shortly because he's going to be at Frightmare in the Falls.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and I've got a little bit of a plan for him because not only am I going to wear the shirt when I meet him, and introduce myself as, oh, you got a kitty too.
Yeah, I got 4 of them. This is Cthulhu.
Yeah, Skittles is around here somewhere, and if he gets close enough, I'm going to grab him. Yep, I've had people say they love it when Skittles is part of the videos, and I'm like, good, I'm going to exploit him for hits.
Oh yeah, of course. You can't put up videos. You got, you know, cats always add views.
Yes,
That's
right.
like rule of the internet.
That's right. Yeah, but anyway, my big plan with CJ Graham when I meet him at Frightmare in the Falls at the end of the month is that, because I've never had him on here. So, and I've interviewed 5 people from Jason Lives.
Yeah.
And one of them has become a wonderful friend of mine, and that is Nancy McLaughlin.
Nice.
And actually, I didn't show this to the last two people, but speaking of nails, well, you go get to see it. I never thought of it. I had Lando and Tony and John Huey on here. Nancy sent this to me.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I got something that's neat. It's Kane related.
Kane related. What did you do? Punch in the balls?
This was a fun little convention story. I actually, I was only the second, I dabbled in comic books for a little bit. I'm only the second ever comic book writer to be granted permission to put Victor Crowley in a comic book. I got permission from Adam Green, and I got this is the print of the page. It's from my comic, We Kill the Dead, which unfortunately did not succeed. So it's no longer in publication, but I kept this print of the page. I got Adam Green's signature on it, and then I brought it to a convention, slid it in front of Kane, and he was like, "What the heck is this?" Got his signature on it too. Yeah, he didn't even know that he was appearing in another comic book.
Yeah. Well, when I meet CJ Graham, I'm gonna have something special because like I said, I'm good friends with Nancy McLaughlin. And I asked her, I said, you know what I think would be a good idea is if I put you on speakerphone when I meet him, so you could ask him about his roadside etiquette.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So so that's what I think I'm going to do. Have Nancy on.
You gotta.
Yeah. Well, Nancy called me the other night and she goes, Greg, you're not going to believe what I'm looking at. He says, and I said, what? And he says, I'm going to take a picture of it and send it to you because you're not going to believe me if I told you. So as we're talking, my phone makes a beep indicating I got a picture in. And I look in the text and there's a guy walking a great big box turtle by leash down the street. So okay. So yeah, I'm good friends with Nancy, and Jason Bradford already knows that Nancy's available for a sequel for 13 Fanboy if they decide to do a sequel. So yeah, but yeah, I've done 3 Horror-ramas, 1 Toronto Comic Con, and I'm going to do my first Frightmare in the Falls a week from today. Cool. So and CJ's supposed to be there. So
yeah, I just got done with Horror Hound Weekend. That was really cool. We had 2 films, not just 13 Fanboy, 2 films that my company had helped with screened there. 13 Fanboy and Don't Fuck in the Woods too.
Don't Fuck in the Woods. The PC police is not going to like that. I don't care personally, but yeah, and you know what? I heard of that one too. I learned
it filled the seats. That was a very full screening.
That's okay. I don't fuck in the woods. I do it in public, so everybody can see that. But nonetheless, I wanted to give voice to people that don't get necessarily to talk, and it's kind of interesting. I get to talk to people like yourself, you know, and open up the doors. And I heard the same thing from everybody that's been on here this week. Thank you for doing the post.
Yeah, absolutely.
To give voice to the voiceless, so to speak, you know, and not that I try to pat myself in the back, but I know what it's like to be overlooked. So I wanted to do that, and I was happy to have you come on here.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yep. So actually, when you canceled yesterday, it was actually kind of a good thing, because I was at my job helping a coworker clean windows,
Oh,
and we
dear.
had those giant pole things going like this, and our arms and shoulders were tired.
Yeah, imagine.
But I showed up there and I said I gotta leave before 2 o'clock to interview somebody on my podcast, because I got sprung this job placement right on the spot that morning. So anyway, while he's getting some equipment, your email come in, and I said, "Hey, good news! You got me all day." And
Well,
we ended up actually being done by 1:30. So but yeah, well, I got you on here today,
yeah,
and
for
it
sure.
it worked out, and yeah, so perfect. So enough about me here. Give me some of your background, because it sounds to me like with comics and movies and whatnot, you've got a story to tell. So
Oh,
give,
I've dabbled in so much different stuff. I mean, mostly right now, my primary role in the film industry is as a sales agent. I co-own the Saifuno Ventures sales agency. So our primary job is basically, finding distribution for films. That's not what we did for 13 Fanboy. Joel didn't need help with that. He's got his finger on the distribution industry. He knew what he was doing. He didn't need our help. But we did.
I had Joel on here back in January. Yeah, and
He's
he
a
was
great guy.
he's a great guy. Yep,
Definitely knows what he's
yep.
doing. But we did help them find. We dabble in a few other things, and one of them is funds acquisition to actually help movies get made in the first place. And that's what we did, is we helped get together some of the funds for 13 Fanboy in conjunction with their Indiegogo.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And before we get to 13 Fanboy, because we kind of touched on this earlier, I got to talk a little bit about the convention scene, because sounds to me like you've done a lot of them, and I'm going to tell you my story with it. I've told it on here a million times, but I never get tired of telling it. I've lived here in New Brunswick, Canada, my whole life. I'm 49 years old. I at that well till a few years ago, I'd never traveled
Mm.
outside maybe Prince Edward Island. I've never traveled, and I always got homesick if I went so far as to an hour away to St. John or 2 hours away to Moncton. I always get homesick, and starting this podcast opened things up to me, because I been a film critic since 1996, and
Nice.
my best friend Colin here suggested I go down to CHSR down on campus for their radio station and see if they needed a film critic. So I went down there, and sure enough, they'd never had a film critic before. So I started a show down there in 2005. 10 years later, through a third party, I ended up with an interview with Tommy Wiseau from The Room.
Nice.
Yeah, they got to get him in the next 13 Fanboy.
I reached out to him. I really wanted to try to find distribution for Big Shark. I have not heard back, but I still have my fingers crossed.
Yeah, Tommy was my first interview, and it was so surreal. I remember when we were getting set up for it, our program director was at the studio, and when Tommy came on the phone, you could see him through the glass window, like giving this "who the heck are you guys talking to" look. And if it had been just Tommy Wiseau, I would have been one and done and fine. But I was kind of like, that was interesting. Can I do this with anybody else? And I had an uncle that used to own a video store when I was young, and that's where my mind went. And my first thought was, I want to talk to some of the girls I had crushes on growing up. See if they not that Tommy Wiseau isn't pretty or anything, but I reached out to two people for the start. One was Adrian King from Friday
Nice.
the 13th, who I always thought was cute. And the other was Lisa Langlois from class of 1984, who is somebody who's become an endearing friend of mine, what I'm going to talk about in a minute. I heard from Adrian after the long weekend in May, which was shortly after I sent the Facebook message. And I remember when I got that message, I kind of leaned back in my chair like, she responded, you know? Well, seriously, I didn't think I'd hear anything. I figured, Tommy Wiseau.
Never hurts to ask. I
Yeah.
mean, the worst thing that can happen is, you don't hear back or they say no. I mean, big deal.
Yeah, I had that experience with Larry Zerner, and I cut him off completely now, okay. But anyway, Adrian responded, and it's just like, okay. And I was nervous about talking to Adrian because, like I said, growing up, I don't watch these films to see Jason because he's just ugly guy under a hockey mask. I must have a favorite female in every one of these movies.
Mhm.
Adrian was my part one. So anyway, I had the interview with her. Eventually, I heard from Lisa Langlois. Lisa was interesting because she and I are both Canadian. And I've had her on here twice. And Lisa asked me during the second interview, we got talking about travel, and she asked what was stopping me. And I could go into, 9/11 and fear of flying, even though I'd never tried it. And she made me, as Marlon Brando said in The Godfather, an offer I could not refuse. She invited me to Toronto, to Horrorama,
Nice.
to assist her at her table.
That's awesome.
I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
I could not say no. And you know what? I've gone every year since,
Nice.
with the exception of 2020. I forget why I didn't do 2020. What happened that year? Anyway, Troy Elke. Just a minute.
Yeah.
We'll make him part of us. We'll make him part of us.
Oh, jeez.
We'll make him part of us. Hey, Troy. Can I? Yeah. Yep. Well, it's part of a live interview right now because I got John Lepper on here and he's looking at me right now talking to you. So I'll, I will. Troy Elke says hello.
Hey, Troy.
Yeah. And he says hello back. So Troy, I'll give you a call tonight, okay? Take care, man. He switched phone companies and I got to put this in flight mode. I better do that before I get more calls. But since that was Troy Elke, I thought let's have a cameo in this interview. Let's have a cameo. I'll go plug my phone in. But as I was saying, Lisa Langlois invited me to assist her, and number one, I took Porter Airlines. I'm the only one in my family who's ever flown. And I actually liked it. It was like taking a bus in the sky.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me, And number two, I remember landing in Toronto, because we're an hour ahead of Toronto, the time zone. Nobody knows where we are here in New Brunswick. So, except Nancy McLaughlin, she knew where I was. But I landed in Toronto, and I remember I was meeting Lisa at Union Station, and she would show me the workings of the subway because we don't have them here, and show me how to use the streetcars. And I went to my location where I could drop my stuff off, and we went to dinner, and I got to know Lisa as a person. And now, like, we send each other Christmas gifts every year, you know, and
Nice.
yeah, I'm going to see her when I go. She's not going to be at Frightmare. She's not one of the guests, but I am going to meet her down there, you know, so. And I probably would not have gone down to Frightmare had not been released, because she was the one that suggested it, because Horrorama got canceled this year, not because of COVID, but because when restrictions lifted, they just didn't have time to book people.
Right, right.
But I always spend a lot of time with Lisa when I go down there. But although my catalog of people, guests and stuff is starting to expand, so I'll have more people I can meet down there. But Lisa's a special case, because had it not been for her, I would not have. I've been just sitting here doing my interviews and not expanding that world, and boy, did I'm glad I did, because conventions are friggin' fun. But I went to that with Lisa, and I must have gotten several other interview guests out of that, because Lisa gave me advice about expanding my brand and getting business cards and stuff like that made. And it was funny sitting there at her table, and when on the down times there'd be Vernon Wells sitting over here, and we'd just go back and forth, you know. I got the bug, and I've been to Horrorama 3 times.
Nice.
And I went to Toronto Comic Con once. Now I'm doing my first Frightmare in the Falls, which CJ Graham is going to be at. So
I mostly just do Horror Hound. I've been there 3 times now. I used to do Rock and Shock out in Boston. I went to that a few times, but unfortunately they're no longer in operation. That's actually where I met Adam Green. He lives, right in Boston, so he used to go to that every year.
Well, here's my story about Horror Hound. I've never been to it, but the year 2017, when I met Lisa at Horrorama, I had just, prior to leaving for Toronto, I had Lynn Griffin from Black Christmas and her husband Sean Sullivan, who's also who's in Wayne's World. And they both reside in Toronto, and I had them on together on my podcast. And I was going to be in Toronto for a week, and they asked me when I was leaving Toronto, because they said, gee, we're going to be at Horror Hound in Chicago. When she said, we'd like the Vade to meet you. And I said, yeah, I'll be in Toronto for a week, if you're back. And that was arranged, myself, Lisa, Lynn, and Sean all met at a restaurant, and Lynn and Sean had stuff that are signed for me and stuff, which was pretty cool, and we had a great time. But a lot of people at Horror Hound that weekend, I guess, had asked about me, because Ron Sloan and Melanie Kinnaman and Tiffany Helm, I guess, were there that weekend from Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, and Debbie Voorhees. And I had told them, I said, I'm going to be at another con while you guys are doing that. So, yeah, I remember that well. And so that's my Horror Hound story without even being there. So you talk about, again, I know we haven't gotten to 13 Fanboy yet, but this was going to come up anyway, so we're going to address this now. Who's the first person you ever approached for an autograph at the cons?
That I've ever approached for an autograph?
Adam Green?
No, actually, the first con I ever went to was actually in Canada. It was the Niagara Falls Comic Con, and that was J.O. Barr, the writer of The Crow.
Okay.
I got a really nice autograph print by him. Interesting dude. He doesn't use computers at all. I asked him if there was any way to follow him on social media or anything. He's like, nope, don't have a computer.
Wow. probably a good thing for him considering how much toxicity is online. So
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely understand with him too. I mean, there's a lot of, I think that especially for him, there's a lot of emotion attached to, the Crow, his creation, just because of, I don't know if you know much about like the inspiration of the Crow, behind the Crow, but he actually, J.O. Barr, the writer, he actually lost his fiance. And
okay.
yeah, to a drunk driver, and he used that pain to kind of inspire him to write The Crow.
And then that pain led to pain for Brandon Lee.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Some history behind that film.
There's a great there's all sorts of different like conflicting stories about like what happened on that set. If anyone really wants to know what happened, there's a great book on Amazon, like Kindle, just about the making of The Crow, and it has everything in there. It's such a good read, and I highly recommend it to folks.
I'm just glad they didn't have a typo, because if the R was not in the title, it would be called The Cow. And then you might think Steve Odekirk would show up there from Kung Pao.
I loved that movie. Steve Odekirk is the director of my two favorite comedies, Kung Pao and Ace Ventura 2.
You want me to tell you something? I saw Kung Pao Enter the Fist in the theater, and people were bitching and complaining about it upon leaving the theater. And I was like looking around, am I the only one that got the joke? Because I laughed my ass off.
Oh yeah, same
movie.
here. I love that style of humor. I love the parodies. I love like the stuff that like takes something else and makes fun of it.
Like Airplane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, all those. Anything basically that used to have Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, love Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, I love when I go to the theater and make discoveries. I'm not big on hype. I find it funny that one of the highest grossing films of 1998 was a piece of shit called Armageddon. But one of the discoveries I made is a film that is celebrated a hell of a lot more than Armageddon is here over 20 years later, and that is The Big Lebowski. I saw that in the theater. The problem was the marketing. All they could do was say from the directors of Fargo.
Did you ever? I was too young at the time. Like my parents wouldn't have let me see anything like horror movies in theaters. But did you have a chance to see Blair Witch Project in theaters?
Yes, I did.
That's amazing. See, that is to me like one of the most historically relevant films in like the horror genre. I mean, it basically invented the concept of viral marketing.
Well, you know what? Well, I'll tell you, like I said, I'm 49. I was born in 1972. So I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and I started as solo going to the movie theater in the mid 90s, and when I realized, gee, I don't have to have somebody hold my hand to go to the theater. It's kind of nice when you're in town job hunting and you tell your folks you've been job hunting, but you realize, gee, the theater's open for matinees. What nobody knows is not going to hurt them. You just stop in, you go to the theater and see Speed some afternoon, and
when Blair Witch Project came out, that came out in 98, right?
99.
99, I was like 12. So getting to the theater by myself would have been a little bit of an issue.
Yeah. 1999 was a great year for movies. It was my favorite year for reviewing movies, because I've got more movies from 1999 on Blu-ray right now than any other year.
Nice.
I mean, you have movies like Office Space, which was an interesting discovery. Movies
absolutely.
Like American Beauty, Fight Club, Being John Malkovich was an interesting one. Election, Eyes Wide Shut, and I could probably think of a lot more that aren't coming to my head right now. There's so many, and I've interviewed a number of people from these movies as well. And 1999 was a good year.
Yeah.
It was 2001 where I stopped going to every movie playing because 2001 pissed me off. Because they had garbage being played like Pearl Harbor, which made me leave the theater angry. I hated that movie with a passion. Movies like The Mummy Returns, which as far as I'm concerned was stupid. Corky Ramono, Freddy Got Fingered. We're down at the university. They were playing movies I loved, like Mulholland Drive,
Nice.
Amelie, Gosford Park. I'd much rather engage myself in those. The
Yeah, I mean,
creativity is so much higher, you know?
oh yeah, creativity is always higher with the indie, low budget stuff. They can afford to be creative. I mean, when you make a movie for millions, you can't afford to take chances. Unfortunately, you have to go for a sure win, or at least what you think is a sure win. Even that doesn't always pan out. But with the low budget stuff, I mean, you can afford to take risks.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we get to 13 Fanboy, tell me other notable people that made an impression on you at the cons.
Let's see, people that made an impression on me at the cons. Let's see here. Oh, I finally got to meet Danielle Harris this past Horror Hound. That was a first.
What was she like?
She was actually really friendly. I had actually come close to working on a couple of films with her, but they ended up falling through at the last moment. I had been working with her. It's no longer her agent now. At the time, her agent was Judy Fox, and I had been working with Judy on trying to
Judy, I know Judy. That's
Judy's
how I
awesome.
got Linnea Quigley.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Linnea at a convention as well. She actually when I released my comic, there's a small Comic-Con right here in Buffalo, just the Buffalo Comic-Con. And I know the guy that runs it, and he got me a table to help me promote my comic. And he also had a mini like horror section. He had like a small, I think it was an Elm Street 3 reunion. He had Linnea Quigley, and yeah, Linnea sat right across the aisle from me.
I met Linnea at Horror Rama 2018, and I had her on my show the following year on my birthday of all times. And yeah, I got her to sing. And and she was supposed to be at Frightmare in the Falls a week from today, but she got postponed. I come to find out it's because I've been told that she wasn't vaccinated, and that was why. And here's the thing with that. I don't know to or from with this pandemic. I got double vaxxed so I could go to Toronto and do the show. But quite frankly, had it not been for that, I wouldn't have cared. Because around me, I'm not seeing anything. I mostly work by myself anyway. So I only did it for travel purposes, but we were told not to gather together for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because Thanksgiving here is a month earlier than you guys. And
right.
Anyway, we were told, I guess there was issues on the news, no gathering for Thanksgiving. Well, my parents are both terminally ill, and I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to have potentially their last Thanksgiving not be with family.
Right.
So I contacted my younger brother and his wife, who are both not vaccinated. And I said, Mom still wants to have Thanksgiving. If you guys go, I'll go. We all went to Thanksgiving dinner. We all had a great get together, a great meal. None of us were affected by anything.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm starting to wonder if this is all bullshit.
Definitely not bullshit.
Well, again, it's just, maybe it's because I'm working a lot of back shifts and outside talking to you. My communication, verbal communication is either with my cat, my supervisor calling me to tell me to go be at a location, or occasionally Troy Elke calling to tell me his numbers changed, or doing these interviews and or talking to somebody through a drive-through window. So that's been my communication. Occasionally I get to visit my brother, and when he's not busy, and that's far and few between. So I don't listen to the news.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
don't listen to the news because I just don't give a shit,
Yeah. I mean, the way I work, I mean, with what I do, I mean, I'm talking to a lot of folks. I don't watch news. I don't have cable. I just I have to be on social media to network. I come across news. And, I can definitely say that, at least one of the people whose films I'm right now repping, I mean, her son, probably about my age, he has COVID and he's probably not going to make it.
Oh, hope he makes it. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I'm not seeing it. I
don't think
want.
it was ever as bad in Canada as it got bad in the US, just because we have some people down here that really are kind of selfish, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it ever got as bad up there as it has been down here in some areas. I mean, I've been lucky. I mean, I'm in Buffalo. Buffalo never really got much of it. It's pretty, I mean, New York City had a huge blow up early on, but I mean, we're literally the opposite side of the state from New York City. So Buffalo is the second biggest city in the state, very distant second, and we're surrounded by nothing but rural. So we're actually fairly isolated from like other larger infection sites.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I don't know. I go to my locations to clean. I stick a podcast in my ear and I get lost in that for a few hours. And anything I hear about the pandemic, if it happens to come up during their conversations,
Yeah.
I don't follow the news. I can watch a horror movie and it'd be the same thing as listening to the news. I just don't care. I'll wear a mask. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not anti-vaccine. I've got my 2 shots. And I told Toronto, I said I did it for you guys. But no, I was told that was why Linnea wasn't going to be there, and I guess a lot of people are disappointed about that. But she's one of 4 people that had to cancel. But I don't know why Michael Berryman had to postpone. But Lou Ferrigno, Michael Hughes wasn't because of vaccinations. It's just because of other things. But
I hope Michael's okay. I know he's had some health issues in the past. I hope it's not anything like that.
I don't know. I found out only after I spoke to one of the promoters about it.
I remember one of the worst. This is probably one of my worst memories from a convention, unfortunately, because it was probably one of my biggest mistakes I've ever made at a convention.
Okay.
When I went to Rock and Shock out in Boston one year, they had George Romero as a guest. And the line was super freaking long. And I said, you know what? I'll get an autograph from him another time. I'm not going to wait in that huge ass line. They announced, I remember that he was listed for the next year, and then he ended up canceling at the last minute. And like a week later, it was announced that he died. And I missed out on my chance of ever meeting the guy.
I interviewed his widow. She was at Horrorama 2017 selling the George Romero dolls. They were doing something with Night of the Living Dead there, and George lived in Toronto. So
well, I know his son is trying to get another army. What was it? Not army. There was another installment in the series that like his father actually signed off on before he died, like fully endorsed it and everything, and he's trying to get it made, and I'm hoping he does at some point. That's George C. Romero.
I know that name. Yeah. I know that name. I
was actually fortunate though. Like I said, I missed out on meeting the guy, but I was fortunate enough to actually I am fortunate enough to share credit with George Romero. He was one of the many, many amazing names interviewed for the Tom Savini documentary that we repped and got up onto Shudder.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Tom Savini just got a book out not too long ago, because I've interviewed Mike Aloisi about 5 years ago. And
well, let me tell you this, and I'll tell you this right now, and this is a little sneak, sneak for your listeners. There will be a physical home release for the Smoke and Mirrors, the Tom Savini story, and I believe early next year. And anyone that is like considers themselves like a collector, anything like that, they're really going to want to keep their eyes open for that release, because I can't go into details too much, but there's going to be some really, really cool, never before seen special features on that release.
cool. But yeah, I did meet Romero's widow. They had John Russo there, and John Harrison was there, and that was actually where I saw one of the early Savini movies called Effects was being screened there, and John Harrison had that Blu-ray on his table, so I bought it and got him to sign it, and I've interviewed Judith O'Dea from Night of the Living Dead.
Nice.
Pretty cool. But yeah, I've heard that George Romero was a pretty nice guy. So
oh
yeah. But yeah, that's basically been my thing. I got vaccinated for Toronto, so I hope they feel special when I get there. But I worked through the pandemic. I didn't take a vacation, because like, why take a vacation and sit at home? I do that when I'm not at work, so yeah. So nonetheless, the conventions are fun. I'm looking forward to going to Frightmare and spooking out CJ Graham, so yeah. Let's talk some 13 Fanboy, because that is
for sure
premiering tomorrow. I unfortunately am not going to see it, because I'm not set up to stream. And I'm a little disappointed that it did not get any screenings here in Canada, because I had mentioned on there that I'm going to be in Toronto, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to play here in Parts Unknown.
Right.
Yeah. We're busy getting movies like After We Fell, which I think should fell into a trash bin, but won't get here.
I mean, I was fortunate enough to see it at Horror Hound, which was actually my first time seeing it, and I thought it turned out really well.
Yeah.
So I think you will enjoy it once we finally do get to see it.
Probably on Blu-ray. I'll probably hear all the spoilers before I see it. And I'll be frank, I saw Halloween Kills after hearing all the spoilers, and I still went and enjoyed it, so
I liked it. I actually really liked it. I think it's really cool how they're doing these new films, how they are doing it as an overarching trilogy with the whole thing plotted out ahead of time. I mean, that's kind of like MCU, like how Disney handles the MCU versus how Disney handled Star Wars, where the new Star Wars sequels, they didn't write them out ahead of time. They wrote them one at a time after the previous one's release. That's why they were all over the place. But this Halloween Ends is probably going to be the first installment in the entire franchise actually written as a finale.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to, part of it is on me, because I read the script online before I saw Halloween Kills. I just want to know if Kyle Richards' character lived in it,
How close did they follow the script?
Pretty close. From what I remember, I only read the script once, but
right.
It didn't bother me really. I still went and had some fun with it, because what you read and what you see on the screen are two different things. But I heard all the spoilers, because when I'm at work, I stick the headphones in, and I was like, you know what, screw it. I got 8 hours here cleaning. I can avoid spoilers and try to get through work and be bored, or I could just listen to them talk about the movie, and it didn't bother me. It's like, screw it, I still went and watched the movie, and didn't ruin it. Didn't ruin it for me at all. But so I'll probably not see 13 Fanboy till I'll be surprised if I see it before the end of the year. I'm not set up for streaming, and be quite frank. I might sound selfish for saying this, but I'm going to say it. I'm on as a co-producer. That was quite a bit of money. I got my picture in the movie in a scene with Tracy Savage. That was a little bit of money. And I got my credit at the end of the movie as well. So I'm like, I kind of feel entitled to see it with an audience. I'm just going to say, but I'll see it when I see it, I guess. But like I said, I would have liked to have seen it in Toronto. I figure if any place in Canada gets it, it'd be Toronto.
Yeah.
And Debbie Sue said she doesn't think so. So
unfortunately, that's all up to the distributor. She really doesn't have any say in that type of stuff, I don't think.
What's that? Yeah. But I am looking forward to eventually seeing it. I'm not boycotting it or anything. It's just that I got some standards. I'll give you an example. And I've said this to the last 213 Fanboy people I had on here. You can listen to music on a CD, and it's fun at your own convenience. But you're always going to remember when you see the band live at a concert.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, seeing a movie at the theater with an audience is like seeing the movie live.
Yep.
And I'll give you an example. I got the box set for Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them all a million times. About half the franchise I've seen in the theater.
Right.
When I was in Toronto in 2019, the Drunken Cinema, as they call it, put on Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. I attended that. Out of every one of the films in the franchise, Jason Lives is the one you want to see with an audience because of the quotable lines, because of the humor. Seeing Jason Lives with an audience was like seeing it for the first time.
You know what I'm looking forward to seeing with an audience?
What?
This Saturday, 2 days from now, I'm finally seeing, I'm going to drive down to Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be seeing Evil Dead, the musical, the stage play, live.
Pennsylvania, do you know Scotty McCoy?
Oh no, that's just the closest showing. They don't even have a single performance in the entire state of New York, so I got to drive about an hour south.
So it's not going to have Bruce Campbell in there singing?
No, I believe it's a college production, if I'm not mistaken. It's at a college, so that's my assumption.
There you go. There you go. So, like I said, 13 Fanboy was the first movie I got involved with. I've had Debbie Sue Voorhees on here 4 times.
Nice.
And how I got involved, I think it was the third time I had her on here. She announced this project. And the moment she dropped Tracy Savage's name, I knew my wallet was going to be emptier. Because in Part 3, Tracy Savage was my crush,
Nice.
And so and I've had Tracy on here a couple times too, and but that was how I got involved, and I got my picture in a scene with her. So that was basically just how I got involved with the movie. Now, Riley C. Morris I had on here a few months back, and he says to me, I recognize your face. Your picture's definitely in there. A bit bloody, but it's there. And I'm like, okay, all right. Do you recall seeing my picture in there? Please tell me you did.
I'm sorry. I don't, off the top of my head, remember seeing it. I'm sorry.
You know what? A lot of people don't want to remember seeing this face. So, hey. Yeah, but except my cat, because he expects this face to come home and feed him. But you saw the film, and you don't have to give spoilers on here. But what were your impressions?
I think it came out really well. I think that, especially for fans of the Friday the 13th franchise, It's definitely going to be, something special for them, especially considering that we haven't had, anything Friday the 13th now for over a decade because of the lawsuit. So, I think this is going to be, a welcome, kind of like, uh, a welcome return, kind of like for them getting to see, familiar faces that they're fans of, that they've followed through various films before. I think that, this is going to be a special treat for them.
How did you initially get involved with 13 Fanboy?
Basically, I saw that they were raising money, and I said I want to be involved with that. So I hit up Deborah, and I said, "Do you need any help?" And she told me what she was looking for, and I ended up finding them about 20% of their budget.
Awesome, awesome. I don't know how much I put into that now. I know it wasn't cheap to be a co-producer in it, but I kind of wanted something to call my own.
Mhm.
And this feels like my own. It feels like your own. It feels like Troy Elke's own, I like that. I got my name on other projects. This one here was really personal.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So anyway, I heard rumor, and you could confirm this if you want to, because I've had Christopher Norris on here twice. I heard he has the most bizarre death in the movie.
I'm trying to act. I've only seen the movie once, and it's been
He
like
was
a couple months now.
His character was named after Jimmy Presley. He's called Jimmy the Janitor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I do remember his death now. How exactly? I remember when he died. I don't remember exactly how he died off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I see so many screeners, like things just start to mix together for me sometimes. I'd have to see it again.
Were you on set for it?
I was not. No, I'm very, very seldom, actually. Yeah, very, very seldom ever on set. I mean, most of the movies that we handle are already finished by the time we get a hold of them. The funding acquisition is really something that we just kind of dabble in. I mean, if anything ever ended up being made near me, I'd probably try to go on set and help out however I could. But I don't travel too much. That's why Horror Hound and Rock and Shock were really the only two bigger conventions that I've been to in the last few years, because those are really the only two bigger ones that were within like 6 hours drive time of me.
What happened to Rock and Shock?
I believe that they just went under due to low sales. I just think they went under before COVID, so it wasn't COVID. I think it was a couple of years before COVID they announced that they were shuttering. And yeah, I just figured that they weren't doing well enough financially to keep going forward. That's the only thing I can assume.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I had to get my ass on a plane to do a convention because nothing happens here. And glad I did. Had fun with it. And I will be promoting 13 Fanboy when I do
Nice.
go to Frightmare. So even though I won't see the film, at least not now, at least I could still promote it. And I should go up to CJ Graham and say, "This is your co-producer. I'm your boss. Can you get me some coffee, please?" Come on, you can't blame me. No, but I'm looking forward to that. So was it packed when you saw 13 Fanboy?
It was fairly packed, yes. I know it was not an open screening like Don't Fuck in the Woods 2 was. It was a VIP only screening, actually about an hour before the convention officially started on the Friday. So not everyone was able to go in, but it was still fairly packed.
Okay. Was anybody from the film at that
Well, yes, Deborah was there, Joel was there, Matt, the contact from the distributor was there. Actually, I met him, and I've since added their company, Desktop Entertainment, to our network of distributors that we pitched to. He actually just made a bunch of offers on several other films that we're currently repping, so very excited to get to working with him directly.
Mhm.
I think, let me see, was there anyone else there? I think there might have been a couple others, a few people that had been involved with like the Indiegogo here and there, that type of thing. I don't think there were any of the bigger names showed up or
Talk
anything like
about
that.
Joel meeting Joel Paul Rising.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think we spoke too much at length, but he was a great guy.
Mhm.
I've spoken more with him through email and Messenger than I did through with him those couple minutes in person. But it was great to meet him.
What about Debbie?
Debbie was great. Yeah, she made sure that I was able to get in because I did not have a VIP ticket, but I mean, because I helped find the movie, she was able to make sure I had a seat.
Mhm.
Um, so she was great. I wasn't able to speak with her too much either. She was a lot of people wanted her attention at the screening.
No.
Yeah, shocker, right?
Well, it's a surprise they were able to get her away from the Hubbard property. But yeah, I haven't had her on this year yet. I think we right now plans are we're going to talk on here after the movie's release, which is probably a good thing because when I put that post on that you responded to, I got flooded with 10 interviews this week alone. It's the most for 1 week for me. And I was happy for the response to it and the gratitude showing because like I said, I love interviewing the bigger names, but the same token, don't ignore people that aren't quite right there center stage on the posters, so to speak,
Yeah,
because the stories you hear are always go be interesting.
I mean, as far as me, as far as like what I do, I'm a realist. I'm a sales agent. No
Mm-hmm.
person that's not involved, no person that just watches movies and doesn't in some way make them involved in the creation of them. No one is who's just like a fan of films is going to be able to name a single sales agent. Okay, that's not
I can
that's
now.
that's not that's not a job that gets you famous. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to, make a living in an industry that I love, and
Mm-hmm.
help indie filmmakers, get their films out there and get them watched, and hopefully help them make some money.
Well, you know what? 13 Fanboy released tomorrow, and I hope it does well. I have a feeling it's going to.
I think it will. I think Desktop Entertainment is the name of the distributor. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're going to handle it very well. Basically, I believe they're treating it as their tentpole film.
Mm-hmm.
They're a established they're an established distributor that is really just now creating an offshoot for genre film. That's what Desk Pop is that genre label. And 13 Fanboy was one of their biggest. It was like their first big acquisition. So they're really going to use that film to push their entire genre side of their company.
Nice. I've had Dee Wallace on here back in 2015, and I met her at Horrorama 2018. So I'm definitely I've met her before. So have you ever met Dee?
Not in person, no.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that well because it was the first time at a con. Like I hate carrying cash on me, but cons I've always had to. But
Oh yeah.
Dee Wallace had a debit machine. Had a little debit machine. I was like, I wish you all had debit machines.
Yeah, you know what the thing is though, because the one time that I had a table at a convention, I actually went and got one of those little square readers for my phone because I figured, oh, people are going to want to pay with debit card. People are going to want to pay with debit card. Not a single person the entire time paid with debit card. Everyone paid with cash. I didn't have to use the thing once.
Well, I was like, this is kind of cool. I'll probably bring cash with me to Frightmare, but I prefer just hey, credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess it's just the convention culture. People like just pay cash. They just assume people are gonna want them to pay cash.
yeah. But nonetheless, we got to talk about some of your other films because Don't Fuck in the Woods. You know what? It's funny. Just a second. That's got a title that just grabs you because an email come up as we were talking about somebody that's I think is going to be doing my show.
Yeah.
Don't Fuck in the Woods is a title that's going to jump out at you. I was in the Sunrise Records and I found a Blu-ray that just jumped out and grabbed me from Canada here.
Oh yeah.
And apparently they've had it in 5 times because it keeps selling. I had never seen this film. And for the life of me, I was like, what is this about? I bought it on impulse. I'm glad I did. This movie is so screwed up.
Oh, nice.
Dead Dicks.
Never heard of that one, but sounds like something that would be up my alley.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I got the Ultimate Canadian edition.
You want a treat for your viewers here. This is my favorite piece of memorabilia from a film I've worked on. VelociPastor. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of VelociPastor.
Yeah.
#1 indie film of 2019, blew up. There's GIFs for it on Facebook. If you look under the GIFs for VelociPastor, there's scenes from the movie. This is one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia. It is an official VelociPastor licensed butt plug. Best paperweight ever.
What? You don't use it?
Oh no. No, I got the biggest one they had because I wanted, it to be large on my shelf.
Okay.
Not because I wanted to hurt myself.
Look, man, you don't have to tell us the truth, I got the biggest one they had. It leaves me with a real dilemma as a sales agent because once one of your films has an officially licensed butt plug, what else is there? My career has peaked and I'm only 34 years old. It's a very, very big issue. I got the biggest one I had. I had to spread my ass cheeks, but took a little bit of pain, but it's in there. Oh, let's go on to the your IMDb here, and I want to talk about Don't Fuck in the Woods. I have to talk about this. Sure. I'm gonna click on that here so I can get a look at this. Oh, nice poster. Talk about the plot for this movie and what you could tell us. You got a trailer. I have not watched the trailer.
Basically, the plot is bunch of horny teens go camping. Sex happens. There's a critter in the woods that smells pheromones. It's attracted to it, and people start dying.
Gee, that's an original plot. Never heard of that one before.
Well, it gets extra crazy with the sequel. Part 2 really, really ups the wow factor. There's a lot better production value and just really insane ideas with the sequel. I think people are really gonna love it. The first one was really blew up. It was pirated over 1 million times.
In a way, you could almost feel honored by that.
Yeah.
But I'll be frank, that movie's celebrating its 5-year anniversary this year.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm kind of looking at some of the pictures on here. You get a guy with a orange hunting vest on here with a case in his hand and a plunger, and you get a half-naked woman beside. Okay. I'll have to see this.
Yeah, crazy movie. You really want a good time?
Second.
Try to hunt down. Now, this is it was a very limited edition, so it might be hard to find. I think he only made released 30 of these. It's the Get Fucked edition, which is it's a grindhouse re-edit of the entire movie. It's really cool. There's also a documentary out for the making of the first one, What Happens in the Woods.
What happens in the woods stays in the woods. Okay, you got my attention.
It actually is a fairly good making of story. They had several false starts with the film. At one point, they basically had to start all over from scratch because on a previous attempt to get the movie made, one of the actors ended up getting stung by a bee, had a bad reaction, and had to go to the hospital. So yeah, they ended up having to like restart the entire film the following year.
Okay. Brandy Mason, is she the heroine of this?
Let's see.
I'm looking at her IMDb. She's cute.
She's in a lot of Sean's films. Sean is a machine. We have worked with Sean on several of his films now, and he's like a production line. He cranks them out, and they're all like really, really well made for the budget. Like he usually makes movies in like the $20,000 budget range. He funds all of them through Indiegogo. He's like a master of Indiegogo at this point. Like every single one of his campaigns meets and usually exceeds its goals. And yeah, he just gets them made, and we help him get distribution for them.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done Don't Fuck in the Woods, Betsy, which is a werewolf movie of his that will be re-released soon under a different name. I'm not sure what the new name they're going to release it under yet is. Stranded, that's his upcoming Bigfoot movie. Don't Fuck in the Woods 2.
Stranded, I do know that. I think Troy Elke's involved with that one.
Stranded is fun. I had made a really good video for the Indiegogo campaign to try to drive backers to it. I basically parodied those old in the eyes of, what was it? In the arms of an angel. Those old like animal commercials on TV.
Yeah.
Where they want you to donate to like help save an animal or whatever. I created one of those as a parody to help feed the Bigfoot.
Yeah, you got Tamara Glenn in that, and Julianne Prescott.
No, I can tell you right now, people are going to be blown away when they see Don't Fuck in the Woods 2. Sean just went above and beyond. Just the things that he can do on the budget. He created an entire cave interior in a room in his apartment. He covered every surface of this room to create. Wow. Yeah, it's insane. You would not know that you were that scene is being filmed in the inside of someone's apartment.
Okay. you got my attention. You guys should make a whole franchise out of it. You should make.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
I've
been pitching him taglines for the future sequels. Don't Fuck in the Woods 3. Fine, see if I care. Go ahead and fuck in the woods.
No, I would call it Don't Fuck in the Woods 3 in 3D. Don't Fuck in the Woods 4, the final chapter. Don't Fuck in the Woods 5, A New Beginning. Don't Fuck in the Woods 6, Fucking Lives.
I told him we gotta go the Sharknado route. We gotta get time travel involved somehow.
that comes to the 10th movie. Don't Fuck in the Woods X. You go get any names attached to the Don't Fuck in the Woods?
I mean, with the budget that he's working at, it's really hard to get names attached because they usually do, they charge more. But I mean, as things progress, I mean, it's totally feasible that eventually he might be able to, up the budget on the future sequels, assuming they keep succeeding and, doing well. And, at that point, maybe he will be able to get some names in there.
Because Stranded here, like I said, you get Tamara Glenn. You
The
get
first one does have Nadia White, who is actually an adult film actress with some renown.
Nice. And let's look at VelociPastor.
That one actually has one name in it. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's an indie rocker known as Voltaire.
I'm not familiar. No.
Do you know the old the kids cartoon Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
I don't know.
No? Oh, okay. Well, some of your listeners are probably familiar with it. If any of your listeners know the episode with the killer asteroid, the song that played during that episode, Brains, that was Voltaire.
Well, let's talk about Smoke and Mirrors, the story of Tom Savini.
Sure,
You
sure.
know, that's fascinating because he's done a ton of what's your favorite Savini movie? Let's start there.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I'd probably say, hang on, I want to make sure I'm not forgetting any. Let me just pull up his IMDb real quick.
That's a long pull.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me see here. Yeah, I'm gonna say Dawn of the Dead, because that's honestly,
It's a good pick.
he both did special effects and he actually acted in it, and it's honestly probably my favorite zombie movie ever.
Good pick.
Yeah, definitely, probably my favorite for sure.
Yeah, I don't well with him. I like Friday the 13th, the final chapter. But then again, I'm a bias because I love Ted White's Jason portrayal in it. I think it's the best version of Jason. But you get a lot of names attached to this movie. Now,
yeah, that was a phenomenal cast list. I mean,
in fact,
Alice Cooper's on there. Alice Cooper, actually, I have two connections with Alice Cooper now.
Oh, nice.
He not only has the credit on Smoke and Mirrors, but he also name dropped VelociPastor during an interview.
Nice. Yeah, we big list of names here. Jim Apple, excuse me. Tom Atkins. Was he with or without the stash? Because people have a preference.
You know, I am not actually sure. I'd have to rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen that too.
Howard Berger, Doug Bradley, Alice Cooper, Corey Feldman, of course, speaking of 13 Fanboy, Sid Haig, we sadly lost.
One of his last appearances on film, actually, was that interview.
Danny McBride, Bill Moseley, Debbie Rochon.
Bill Moseley, we've repped before. We actually helped get distribution for the Killer Clown movie he starred in, Crepitus.
Okay. We have George A. Romero, John A. Russo, is it Laia Savini? Another Savini in there.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's one of his relatives.
Okay. Tony Todd, Danny Trejo, Ted White, of course, I have connection with. Fred Williamson, of course, Caroline Williams. Okay. This looks like hell. I gotta go up here and see how long this documentary is. Hope it's a long one.
I think it's in the 90-minute range.
Yeah, it is 91 minutes. Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, like I said, that one will be getting a home release sometime probably early next year. Right now, it is, I believe, only available on Shudder.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because Nora Hewitt is involved with 13 Fanboy, and she was one of his students.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, he's had some very impressive students, actually. I've come across a few of them on a few projects.
Oh yeah, your executive producer, Don't Fuck in the Woods 2. I'm just seeing that on here. You got Julianne Prescott for that one. I've never had her on here, but I know the name circulate. Brandy Mason back.
Yep.
So I'm guessing she survived the first one. She gets to fuck again in the woods. Okay. I want to see that just for the title alone.
I love the weird stuff. I mean, if I think there's a market for it, I'll rep anything. I mean, even if it's not horror, even though like 90% of the films that we rep are horror. I mean, my partner and I were both huge horror fans, and horror is just like the most profitable genre. So we love dealing with it. So, but we'll consider any genre. But as far as like the horror movies goes, I mean, there's a huge variance. I mean, we'll work with big stuff, we'll work with small stuff. I really do like looking at like the small stuff that like has like viral potential, like Don't Fuck in the Woods or VelociPastor. I'm actually going to be signing up. What was it? I'm going to be getting a screener in the not too distant future for a movie called Batshit that I'm I just signed on a film called Mother Noose Presents Once Upon a Nightmare, which is a fairy tale horror movie anthology. And that actually has Erin Brown, aka Misty Munday.
Okay.
You might know of her from such films as Lord of the G String.
Okay, I like where this is all going. You got 3 acting credits, of course. Not Another Monster Movie, The Plague 2, and 13 Winters. Is that like a 13 Fanboy spinoff?
No, 13 Winters was actually a music video I was in when I lived back in Maine. It's online. It's on YouTube. It's called 13 Winters. The name of the song is "Bring Back the Snakes." It was actually they're a pagan band. So if you know anything about like the origins of St. Patrick's Day, basically St. Patrick's Day is the myth behind it is that St. Patrick drove all the snakes out of Ireland. And that was basically a metaphor for him driving out all the pagans. Well, basically this song is like bring back the pagans. And they actually released it, did a screening at a movie theater on St. Patrick's Day. For the music video, and it was really cool. I actually got to play a priest who got killed by a bunch of druids who come back for revenge.
So talk about Splatterpunk.
Splatterpunk, that one's not released yet, I don't believe, but I did help them find some of their funding for that. That I have not helped with distribution on it. But it's an interesting little film. It's an anthology type film. I have not seen the final product yet, but some of the names are really interesting, and that's what attracted me to it. Let me see here. Who was it in particular? One of the writers was really impressive. Oh yeah, David J. Show is involved, and he was the writer for such movies as The Hills Run Red, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, and The Crow, the screenplay.
Okay. Well, is Don't Fuck in the Woods available on Blu-ray?
I believe it does have some sort of Blu-ray release.
Because I'm a Blu-ray sucker.
Yeah, actually, it does have Blu-ray. There's been 2 different Blu-ray releases. There was one that's the general release, and we also had a Blu-ray release, horror pack exclusive.
Okay, I might have to get that as part of my collection.
You familiar with horror pack?
No, but I do know that Lee McCoy from Drum Dums gets the horror packs, and
horror pack is awesome. It's like $25 a month. They send you 4 horror Blu-rays. We've worked with them. We sometimes try to get movies in there as well as with like a traditional distributor, just to try to get that little extra. We've had, I want to say, 4 or 5 films in horror packs at this point.
Okay. Horror packs. How do you get on horror packs now again?
You just go. I don't know if they're available in Canada. I do not. But
Okay.
you go onto their website and they'll have all the information there. It's just it should be just horrorpack.com.
Yeah, 13 Fanboy ain't available for screenings here either. So poor Canada doesn't get let in on this, but anyway, whatever. Let's go back to 13 Fanboy briefly here before we close off.
Sure.
Who made the biggest impression on you in the movie, acting wise? Like, who stood out to you?
Definitely Kane. Just because I know that doing roles without a mask is something that he's really been trying to do more and more of ever since the Hatchet films. Really, when he Adam Green was kind enough to actually grant him that and allow him to be not only Victor Crowley but Victor Crowley's father in the flashbacks. And it was just really great to see him being able to be himself and actually act with with lines instead of just physicality, as we very often do see him. I mean, he makes a great killer, obviously, but he wants to grow beyond that, and it's great to see that he's making headway there.
Who are other standouts to you in the film?
Well, Corey was he was very his role is very entertaining to watch. Let me put it that way. He definitely is a scene stealer in all the shots that he does appear in.
Okay, all right. No, I'm interested to eventually see this. I don't know when that'll be, but I am going to be watching the feedback and see what goes on with it. So, and I am going to promote it at Frightmare in the Falls, and so I've definitely been promoting it for several years now. So I'm really happy to have my name on this film. I've had people, they say, thank you for your involvement. I said, no, thank Tracy Savage. Had that name not been dropped, who knows, I'm not saying I wouldn't have, but that was a secret weapon that got me involved. So it's like, okay. I hope they do a sequel. I think they should bring Danielle Harris in for the sequel and just call it Fanboy, unless they want to go 14 Fanboy, but I say just call Fanboy 2.
Maybe give the second one like a Halloween leaning instead of Friday the 13th. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Bring in like Tyler Maine, Tony Moran, Nick Castle. That'd be really cool.
I have a great idea. Bring in the Trailer Park Boys. I'll let you see them.
Courtney, the new guy playing Michael, he's probably my favorite Michael now. He's
great. Yep.
He is really good. He was at Horror Hound, and after seeing Halloween Kills, I am disappointed I did not get his autograph while I was there. This Horror Hound, I was actually very light on the autographs. I actually was mostly looking at like memorabilia. I really only got Danielle Harris, I got Deborah, because she was there and I hadn't had an autograph of her yet, so I definitely got an autograph of hers. And then original Eddie Munster. Okay.
We're gonna have Lisa Loring at Frightmare. She's the original Wednesday Addams.
Oh, really? Yeah, I did meet her. I have her on. Actually, there's her autograph and there's Eddie's.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, I got to tell you, the cons are addictive. Once you start going, I miss them. I love it. A lot of the people that I know at Horrorama are going to be at Frightmare, so Horrorama is kind of my go-to. Chris Alexander runs that. He used to work with Fangoria magazine, and
nice.
Yeah, but he's going to be at Frightmare in the Falls on Saturday, so I'll see him there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being part of that. They get a good lineup of people that are going to be there. Felissa Rose is going to be there. I'll meet her for the first time.
She is such a sweetheart. She is just so friendly. Like probably one of the friendliest people I've ever met at a convention. Like,
Well, I got a surprise for her because one of the charities I'm involved with is called the Doubtfire Face Challenge for Suicide and Depression Awareness. After we lost Robin Williams, when the Ice Bucket Challenge took off and did really well, one came out for suicide and depression awareness where you take a pie in the face and you nominate 3 people. And I've thrown that out to a few of my guests. Lisa Langlois did it. Nancy McLaughlin did it right in front of props from Jason Lives. Yeah. Ellen Udy from My Bloody Valentine, she did one because she's now a professional clown, so I couldn't resist throwing it out to her.
That's neat.
She's done stuff on stilts and all that.
It is so interesting to see like where people's careers evolve.
Oh, yeah.
So many people start in horror and then they do move on to other things. Like, I mean, we got Ant-Man right now. He started out in Halloween 6, you know, it's like
I had Sandy Johnson from Halloween did the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and
Danielle Harris's career arc is one I find very interesting because she started with horror as like a little kid, then got into like more family stuff, like still as a kid and then growing up, and then she got more back into horror. Because everyone should forget she was like in Free Willy, you know?
Oh, I forgot she was in Free Willy.
Yeah, she was in a ton of like kid stuff for a little bit.
But Sandy Johnson did a Doubtfire Challenge, and her husband was dressed up as Michael Myers. Put the pie in her face, and that one was pretty funny. So she nominated, among her nominees were Nick Castle, PJ Souls, and Felissa Rose. I'm going to show this to Felissa Rose when I go to Frightmare. Yeah. So I figured people want to see people in the industry do this. So Jason Bradford and Troy Elke took it and ran with it for 13 Fanboy, and Ron Sloan did it. But I'm going to tell you, Adrian King's been nominated like 5 times. Melanie Kinnaman's been nominated a couple times. Melanie Kinnaman's been nominated 3 times. So is Adam Marcus, Deborah Sullivan, Tracy Savage, Judy Aronson, Laura Park Lincoln, Jennifer Bonko, you name it. So I'm waiting for some responses on that. I think COVID has prevented a lot of it, because I actually threw it out to Judy Aronson on Cameo. And she said she hasn't done it yet because of COVID, but she promises she's going to do it. She said she was so jealous when Ron Sloan got nominated for that, but she didn't realize she was nominated. So I'm like, yeah. So do you have any charities that you're involved with that you'd like to plug on here?
Let me see.
Besides not fucking in the woods?
Yeah. I mean, I've been involved with a few things in the past. As far as what I have going on right now, as far as charities, honestly, I don't have anything that anyone else would be able to. Well, actually, no, they could all go ahead and add this to their browser too. I use a browser plugin called Tab for a Cause. Basically, it's a plugin for Chrome browser, and every time you open a new tab, it uses ad revenue, so it creates a new tab page, and there's like some ads on it. So whenever you open it, it makes them a little bit of money, and they donate that money to causes.
Oh, that's awesome! Awesome. Well, Pad with a Cause, and you have
tab with a cause.
Tab with a Cause,
like when you open a new tab in a browser.
Tab with a Cause, and then you have a plug for an ass there too. Show your butt plug thing on here again. Come on, before you make it disappear. Look at that. Look at that movie. Got that out there. Yeah. Somebody's going to insert that into their ass.
I'm sure. I mean, they were selling others. I'm sure one of them has been inside of someone's butt. So
look, you don't have to admit anything. That's okay. What you do in private.
I got hemorrhoids. I can't do that.
That's what they all say. No, but seriously, I've never seen that before. What advertisement for your butt plug? Why didn't 13 Fanboy get a butt plug?
That's a good question. I mean, that's the pinnacle of marketing right there, right?
Yeah, I can see Debbie Sue Voorhees like, okay, Joel, Paul Rising, you handle that part of the marketing.
What you got to do is you just got to get these into like some, high profile strip club, and you got to get the,
There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, well, you got some interesting projects coming up. I'm going to keep watch because maybe next year around this time I'll have you back on and do a follow up.
Oh, for sure.
I think
I'm sure I'll have tons of new stuff to talk about by then. We're always bringing on new projects.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether you added me on Facebook or not,
I
but
believe I did. Yes.
okay, all right. Yeah, so we can keep in touch on this. When this is ready, I'll send you the link, and it'll be unlisted on YouTube for probably a while, but you have permission to put it out on your page or whatever. I learned early from my former station manager, don't put interviews up right away. Save some for a rainy day. The rainy day turned out to be COVID, because when the station shut down and I had no way of doing this, I had about 150 interviews in my backlog, because I put one up every 5 days or something like that, 5 or 6 days. So that came in handy. Nancy McLaughlin was the one that introduced me to Zoom. She said, if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom.
Oh, and, I mean, I wasn't familiar with Zoom until the pandemic happened, for sure. I've probably only recently gotten around to figuring out how to like create a Zoom meeting.
Well, actually, it was Kerry Yates, who's involved with 13 Fanboy from the UK, who broke me into Zoom, because I had an interview scheduled and I announced it on Facebook, and I kind of said, my first on Zoom, a little nervous, but hoping this works out. And she came on there and she said, you want me to help you break it in? I figured, well, she's involved with 13 Fanboy. Why not? And I'm glad I did, because I appreciate very much Kerry Yates, who doesn't get enough credit for what she does behind the scenes to promote this in the UK. And so I was quite happy to be able to do this. I've done over 100 on Zoom this year. It's great. I don't have to call the station, because I'm back in the station now. But I don't have to call the station to book the studio. I can just do it like this, This is so much nicer, so much nicer. Yeah. Anything else you want to plug on here? Besides plug, I better be careful how I say that. Anything else you want to promote on here before we sign off?
Oh, let me see. Not off the top of my head. I think that's most of the stuff that we have coming up. I'll just say, make sure people support indie horror. A great place for people to check out. A lot of really, low production, low budget horror movies is, Tubi TV. Tubi TV has been just so excellent. It's been treating filmmakers so well, so much better than Amazon, for sure. Amazon treats filmmakers so horribly. The bottom metric, I believe, for Amazon Prime is about 2 cents per hour of viewing. People on with their films on Amazon, they don't make next to nothing. Any distributor will put the movie on Amazon anyway, but Tubi makes them so much more money, and it's free. It's literally free. You just sign up and you watch some ads, and it's free. The AVOD streaming system has just been doing really well for really low budget films. Vudu has also been picking up. They've started moving over to an AVOD type of system where, they actually do have a lot of films on there now that are just free with ads. And that's another one that's been doing really well for the filmmakers. So, if you're ever looking for something new to watch and you don't have a lot of money to spend on it, instead of going to go pirate something or whatever, go and support the filmmakers. You're still
Jay, I still buy Blu-rays. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still free to you, and they actually get paid. So I mean, it's like it's a win-win,
Okay.
Just support indie.
Okay. Well, you know what? I don't know if you're familiar with them, but if you're into you need support on indie horror, Rob Mahoney and Jimmy Presley are two people that you want to connect with on that, because they've done a lot of footwork on a lot of indie horror films.
Unfortunately, most of the marketing is usually left up to the distributors once we place a film with them, and a couple of them do have some really amazing marketing companies. I mean, VelociPastor. I mean, people have seen how much that one blew up. That's because the company we placed it with, Wild Eye Entertainment.
Well, it's got a butt plug.
Wild Eye Releasing. They work with a marketing firm out of Australia. And they put their full power behind VelociPastor, and they pushed it hard. And
I bet they pushed it hard.
Hopefully with lube. Otherwise, you're gonna tear something.
Oh, well, you know what? It was fantastic having you come on here today and talk about these films. You got a lot of things on here I got to check out, and I think I might start with
one of them. I'll recommend to you to check out if you like the weird stuff. One of them I'm kind of sad did not blow up more. It only ended up getting a digital release. It never got a physical one, unfortunately. I wish it did, because I really want to add it to my shelf. Furry Nights is hilarious. It's on Tubi TV for free. It's about a group of friends who go out for a good time in the woods. And
they're into furries.
No, there's a bunch of furries out there who are having an orgy, and a hunter mistakes one of them for a bear and shoots them. And now they're pissed. Now the furries are angry and they're out for revenge. So
why doesn't this get a physical release?
Some physical releases, I mean, I love them still, but they are slipping by the wayside. Not everything does get a physical release nowadays, unfortunately. I mean, things like physical releases can be a real, I mean, they make a nice little feather in the cap. It's cool to be able to put something on your shelf, but they can actually be a huge drawback, because the way some brick and mortar stores like Walmart work, I mean, they might buy several thousand units of the movie, but they also have a thing in their contracts where they have a buyback clause. If those units don't sell within a certain amount of time, the distributor has to buy them all back, and then they have to move them at like 50 cents a piece at a dollar store under cost. Yeah, you can lose money with a Walmart release very easily. It's a very risky maneuver.
Most of the films I've been involved with are Walmart releases or Best Buy. I cameo in 9 James Balsamo movies. Speaking of weird shit.
Yeah, I know James.
Yeah. Well, he contacted me one night, and because he's been on my show 3 times, and I come in contact with him through Genevieve Rossi. And speaking of weird, she did Attack of the Killer Chickens. He asked me one night, it was 4 a.m. and it was 12 midnight where he was. I got this email where he asked if I'd shoot my own death scene for Cool as Hell 2. And I stared at that because I'm not an actor. But watching stuff from his films, I don't have to be an actor to be in his movies. His movies are intentionally campy. And but I haven't seen all the ones that I've been part of, but I think my crowning achievement of the films I've been involved with of him that I've seen was It Wants Blood, because I appeared twice in it, being watched on television by Eric Roberts. So nice. I'm in scenes with Eric Roberts, and I didn't even have to move my ass out of Fredericton.
Another one you can see on Tubi. That's kind of a really cool one that we repped. It's called Scrawl, and it's a horror movie. It's the feature debut for Daisy Ridley.
Is she in the movie? Because she's easy on the eyes.
She is one of the primary roles in the film.
Good.
Yes, and that's about 12 months before she was in Force Awakens. She was in this micro budget indie horror movie. It was just a student project for a college, and it's actually pretty well made. It's definitely an entertaining movie. I mean, it doesn't have a huge budget, but they did really well with what they had. And it definitely makes me really love the new Star Wars movies, as much as controversial as they may be, because the last Skywalker made it so that I have a shared credit with an official Skywalker.
Okay. I
So
saw
say whatever you want. Say whatever you want about the Star Wars movies. I love them.
I saw the original trilogy growing up at the drive-in theater when we used to have them here. So, but I like Force Awakens. So I like Rogue One as well. So, but nonetheless, anything else you want to promote on here?
That should do it, man. Thank you
Well,
for having me on. Thank you for letting me plug some stuff and talk about 13 Fanboy.
Yeah, I know. You talked about plugging some stuff. I'm not gonna let you off that, that's gonna follow you. Wait
I'm
till I
not
tell.
ashamed.
Wait,
I'm not ashamed. My office decorations are awesome.
too bad you didn't have that out here when Troy Elke was on the phone with me there when during the interview, because just imagine Troy Elke's reaction to that.
Oh, my office has sorts of cool stuff. I got my ashy slashy puppet. I've got my certificate of ordination in the first United Church of Cthulhu. I'm able to marry people in the name of Cthulhu anywhere in New York State except for Long Island.
What about Short Island?
If that was such a place, I could marry people there.
Well, it was great to have you on here today, and I find it fascinating the projects that you are involved with. I'm going to check some of these out, especially Don't Fuck in the Woods. That sounds like something to be right up my alley. So yeah, I'm always looking for interview opportunities. So maybe I might even reach out to somebody from that, but I'm going to check it out first. So yeah, so yeah, it was wonderful having you on here. I'm glad I put that post up there on Facebook,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
like I say, I always urge podcasters, don't look at somebody and call them a stranger. Look into what potential stories, because you never also don't know the connections. Yeah. I interviewed the author of, so I got the book over there, the book of top 10 horror lists. And I had him, he got referred to me by his publicist, and I didn't know who he was, but I had him on here. And he went to a con. He didn't expect to sell any more than maybe 5 or 10 books. Sold 81.
Nice.
But he was just at a con last weekend. And I know Bobby Heckman, he was there. Jill Whitlow was there, because they're both involved with, Bobby directed Victim No More, which I'm on as a co-producer, and Jill Whitlow was in it. They were there. But Charles was there, and his publicist asked me if I would connect them more people for the book, for a second edition. I connected them so far with Nancy McLaughlin, Sandy Johnson, and Eileen Dietz. And it turned out Eileen Dietz was at that same con. So she and Charles got to meet each other, and
nice.
It was called Dead Con.
I think I've heard of that one.
Well, it's kind of funny. I've never been there. I've never been to the States. But yet my name kind of got passed around that con. It was kind of a nice feeling. I actually went to work cleaning that night with a smile on my face, knowing that. So it was kind of cool, kind of nice, But anyway, it was wonderful having you on here today and talk about these projects. I'm glad we're both part of 13 Fanboy. So we're at the beginning and end of the film both, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there we share that. Awesome. I'm under Greg Python Gilbert on there. So I'm looking forward to seeing the finished project. Best of luck to Debbie Voorhees, 13 Fanboy, and released tomorrow. Yeah, I take it you're going to see it tomorrow, huh?
I'm gonna have to look and see where if it's playing anywhere near me. I don't think they have a screening anywhere near me, but I'll have to check the streaming services.
Yeah, they don't have it anywhere near me either. And I'm not set up for streaming, and I'm kind of like, yeah, not feeling that. I don't know.
I watched Halloween Kills in theaters, and then I watched it 3 more times on Peacock.
Well, you know what? My brother and his wife have streaming. Maybe they might be interested to. I never know. I might make a thing about watching at their place. I never thought of that. Maybe I might do that. Of course, I got to find the time because, like I said, my work schedule. Hey, kitty!
Another one of my kitties wanted to say hi before I get off. That's Sam Hain.
Yeah, my kitty's around here probably hiding because he knows I'm going to stick him on here if he. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? It was wonderful having you on here today, and stay in touch, and
Sure.
I'll have you back on here next year. I'll be awesome chat about Don't Fuck in the Woods in 3D. I'm not going to go to that one because I don't want I do not want to know what's going to pop out in 3D.
Might lose an eye.
Hey, yeah. Anyway, man, take care. God bless. Thank you so much for allowing me the honor to have you on here today.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And like I said, we're both in 13 Fanboy. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You take care. You have yourself a wonderful day, and I hope you're feeling better. I sound good today, so
yeah, just a little bit of a lingering cough, but I'm doing a lot better. Had a bit of a fever there for a bit, but doing a lot better now.
Well, I'm glad we were able to reconnect, and I appreciate you letting me know because I had somebody not let me know earlier this year, and I ended up sitting here for 2 hours.
Hate
that. I hate that too. So I appreciate it, and we made it work out. And it just turned out I had a slot available. That's why I said, yeah, we can do this today, because I kind of wanted to get you in before the movie was released, but I think there's a few people that got back to me. It might have to be afterwards because I got 2 tomorrow, and I got another person later on this evening from Willy's Wonderland. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's such a great movie.
I've interviewed one person from it already, the woman that was Siren Sarah, who turned out she's actually, I thought it was a digital effect. Turned out that was a real woman, and she was a dancer.
Huh. That's cool.
Like, yeah. So I had her on here, lovely woman, and I got the guy who operated the ostrich coming on here tonight. Nice. So yeah, so. And that'll be number 500. You're number 499.
Woo!
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, you have yourself a triumphant day. Keep creating and keep being awesome.
Will do. You have a good one.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.